What would you put in your backpack if you had a new coaching engagement but could only take a limited number of items? Each episode, the Coach's Backpack explores the multifaceted world of coaching and asks a new guest to tell us what they would take with them and why. Hi, I'm David Lowe, and this week we're taking a peek inside the backpack of Harleen Grover from the Space HQ. Welcome, Harleen.
David, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being our guest on the last episode of this series. First off, Harleen, would you describe what you do in under 20 words?
So, in and around 20 words, I would say that I empower leaders to find clarity in change and purpose in progress in the area of corporate wellness and leadership, with my special focus being on menopause in the workplace.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, you know the setup here, but others might not. So you've been asked to coach a new client, but are limited to what you can take with you. Don't worry, you have the essentials, your clothes and a toothbrush. In addition to those, you can take one book, one tool, technique, concept, method, approach, or whatever you want to call it, one other item of your choice, plus a person from the past or the present to accompany you. So, Harleen Grover, what and whom would you take with you and why?
Oh, I love this. So the book that I would take with me is a book called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I love Louise Hay, who is no longer with us, unfortunately. When you pick up this book, it's like being handed a mirror and it says, "Look, darling, your thoughts are powerful magic." So this book, for me, it's never really sat on my shelf. It's more spoken to my soul, and it can speak to your soul too, David, if you read it and if you allow it. So for anyone going through personal or professional shifts that come with menopause or midlife or any major life transitions, this book is like a warm, honest friend who doesn't flinch at your truth. It's about owning your healing, not outsourcing it somewhere. I found this book when I was quite young, actually. I'd say probably 18-ish, maybe younger. I can't remember that far back, I have to be honest. It changed my life by changing my thoughts, which is how I feel one changes their life. It made a huge impact on me at that tender age and subsequently has continued to do so. It changed my thoughts, which changed me, which changed my habits, the things that I chose to be party to in life. And it's always a book that I pass on to others. And it's so relevant to what I do because menopause isn't just physical, it's emotional, psychological, it's identity shifting. And this book reminds me and my clients that healing and power start in the mind, self-compassion. It's not optional, it's foundational. So it's pretty powerful, this book. It always has been in my life.
So one question I've got for you before we go any further. You said there that it could change my life as well.
Mm-hmm.
The menopause is a change that only occurs in women?
Yes.
But what we're talking about here is not just going to be useful for women.
No. And what I do, my objective in the work that I do isn't just female centric. So the menopause, yes, it is something that happens to women and it's something that most women will experience. But however, it's impacted in a wider scope. So it's impacted to organizations, to men, to families, to your partners, to your parents, to everybody. It's like has this wider impact. So therefore, if we're referring to this particular book, it's something that most people will find something from it if you give it a chance. But it's, books are personal. You're either going to love it or not, and that's fine.
So if you had to pick a nugget from the book to share with us, what, without spoiling the whole thing, would you pick?
So the thing that's come from it for me is that you are your own power, right? So that there is nothing more powerful than yourself. And how you perceive yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you behave, the actions that you take, which come from your thoughts, are basically, they can either raise you or bury you. without being so dramatic. I mean, yes, I am dramatic. So that is been my biggest takeaway from the book, that if I want to achieve things in my life, be it happiness or some other fundamental career goals, whatever it is, it's down to me. It's how I perceive myself, it's how I think about myself, and therefore the actions that I take emotionally, physically, work related, whatever. It's all in the actions that I take, which start from the thoughts and the way that I speak to myself and how I think about myself.
That reminds me of something you said a minute ago, that the menopause is about emotional, psychological, and identity shifting. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of conversation about the physical aspects of menopause or perimenopause, postmenopause, all of those areas. And in my lived experience of it and the conversations I've had with my clients, my friends, people as a whole, menopause is just so much more than that, right? And it's midlife as well. It all kind of links together for me. It's all knitted together into this one weave of thing about midlife, which is the fact that it touches so many different areas of your life. It kind of brings into sharp focus where you are right now, emotionally, physically, in your work, in your personal choices, in your relationships, even in where you live. And all of those little jigsaw puzzles or Lego pieces, should we say, make up who we are, our identity. And if those things have changed with us even really being aware of them over time, menopause will certainly bring it into sharp focus, or midlife will bring it into sharp focus. So that's really what I meant about that, that it's a lot more psychological and deeper into self-evaluation and where am I right now? And is this where I wanted to be? Is this where I thought I'd be? Is this where I want to be in the next 5 years, 10 years? What are the next 20, 30 years going to look like for me?
Okay then, Harleen, well, let's see what else you're going to put in your backpack.
I feel that there should be some level of method in my backpack. Method is always good. So I like to call something that I use for myself and I encourage in my practice as well. And there's lots of different variations of this in life and out there in the world, which is great. I like to call it the pause practice. And it's pretty much self-explanatory to some extent. And it's deceptively simple, but deceptively difficult to do, as most simple things in life are. So it's pause, breathe, respond. Really difficult to do when someone's cut you up in traffic in London, but a skill that I highly recommend. So it's how I teach the art of responding and not reacting, and I still have to teach it to myself. So it's an ongoing thing for the rest of my life for sure. And whether it's a work relationship, whether it's a leadership situation or crisis, or a hot flush that a woman's getting in the middle of a meeting, or leading the team, or standing on stage, God forbid. And it's a micro tool that's rooted in mindfulness. So it's pause, breathe, then respond. Great for coaching leaders or anyone really, how to handle stress, hot flushes, physical symptoms of menopause, psychological chatter for menopause, and generally our own sometimes hostile thoughts that we can internalize onto ourselves. So for me, the pause is sacred. It's where wisdom lives and burnout ends. But like I said, it's a continual practice that one has to do, I feel. It's not something you can do once. It's a muscle. You build and build and build, and then you keep building.
I love it. And in coaching, we obviously want to give that space to our clients.
Mm-hmm.
As a tool for people in the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw a challenge to you.
Oh, go on.
Some clients I've had in the past struggle with gaining that presence in meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And so
giving more space, that pause, breathe, respond, would give other people in that meeting even more chance to jump in and take the limelight and not let these people be heard.
Okay, interesting point. So I would say we need to step back and think about what the objective would be, right? If the objective is to be heard, if the objective is to be in the limelight and to be in the circle of attention, then I would say that one can still take pause, breathe, respond, because the pause doesn't have to detract from how you then come back and respond. There has to be a purpose to the pause as well. Okay. So if there isn't a purpose to why one's pausing, then one shouldn't necessarily be pausing. But if there's a purpose to the pause, and say someone else has jumped in and they've got the limelight, well, that's okay. The spotlight can change. Yeah. So 1 minute it's on this person, say person A. But if person B, who's the one who's pausing, wants it back, they can pull it back. And the way to pull it back would be after the pause, taking a breath, listening to what's occurred, and then responding. And the response doesn't have to address what's just come before it. It can jump over that and respond going back to whatever it is that we or person B wants to be the focus. So one doesn't have to tailgate the other, and that's, I guess, where the pause can be of real value, so that person B can listen to what's being said and not get panicked in the fact that, oh my gosh, the light isn't on me, and I'm going to lose my place here. No, because you can step back in and bring the place to you. You don't have to go to the place. You can bring it and pull it back to you. So that is what I would say, that one can use it in that situation. But yeah, if one's pausing, the pause needs to have a purpose. But in the scenario that I was giving was, I guess, probably the most obvious scenario is if you've got so much clutter going on in your head, or you're just going to be reactive, but not in the best way. Perhaps pausing, taking a moment, and then responding would actually serve you better. But in this scenario, it can still serve you, because it depends what the objective of the pause is. And I'm a great believer in not following the spotlight, but having the spotlight follow you. Be powerful enough to bring the spotlight home, rather than finding that you're changing where your home is depending on where it is. You know what I mean?
And I love that, because the value of that pause can add emphasis, strength, gravitas, whatever you want to call it. The fact that we're not jumping in and we're giving that considered response.
Yes.
Okay, so what else? We've got a thing of your choice and a person still to go in your backpack.
Oh, yes. So the person. I have no person, but I have some soul that is so much more beautiful than a human person. And that beautiful, glorious, just stunning soul is my dog, Skylar, right? So I cannot tell you how much I believe in the power of music, movement, animals, okay? For everything in life, literally everything in life. This is a whole other podcast, so I'll try not to go off on a tangent, but I will say Skylar, who's a Samoyed, she's a beautiful, let me get you to visualize what she looks like. She's a big wolf-looking, white, gorgeous, stunning, the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life. I have no biases here, of course. So yeah, she's my four-legged coach in residence, as I like to say. And that is who I would bring. Okay, so the reason, other than the fact that she's incredible and gorgeous, is that she teaches presence, play, the joy of naps, which I highly recommend, which are all core pillars of thriving in this life. She doesn't care about corporate titles, achievements, if you have your own parking spot at the office. She cares that you put your feet on the grass and that you take a moment to breathe and just be and squeeze the juice out of everything and be fully in the moment, which resonates totally with me. And she reminds me and all who meet her, and I'm not exaggerating, of what balance, pure, undiluted joy, living in the moment, kindness, and unconditional love looks and feels like. And I mean, who would say no to all of that? So basically, she's my co-coach, minus the ability to speak and fill out an invoice.
Even better, she never invoices you.
She never invoices me, but she doesn't invoice anyone else either.
Well, now we've got a bit of a problem here,
Oh no.
Harleen, I'm
Oh
afraid.
no.
Truffle, who is my dog, who is a
Oh, no.
cockapoo. And so I'm not sure how we're going to I'll tell you how we're going to settle this about who's the most gorgeous. We could put a picture of Skylar and of Truffle out there, and people could say whether one is better looking than the other or they're both equally as good looking.
Let's do it. I love Truffle already. Okay. But I mean, if you're willing to lose, let's do it.
Okay. And we'll put let's put some value on this. How about coffee and pastries the next time we run into each other?
I say coffee, champagne, pastries.
Well, okay, you're upping the ante. Okay, we're on.
Let's do it. Pink champagne, just saying.
Okay. And if it's a draw, then we just have to buy that anyway.
Okay.
So this is a win-win, really.
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
it's a win-win.
Okay.
But I just want to prepare you. Take a moment. Take that pause that we've been talking about because you're gonna lose. But okay, I didn't.
I love how you've managed to bring pause practice into something a lot darker now. Anyway, back to Skylar.
This is what I say about Skylar, okay? And if you ever come out with us, ever, you will experience this for yourself firsthand. Skylar is the giver and bringer of happiness. And I'm not just saying that. It is proven. When I take Skylar out in the big, beautiful world that we live in, I swear, David, there are people that, that you wouldn't expect, just based on, judgmental stuff like how they look and big burly men and dustbin men and whoever, they're like literally melt. They melt. And she makes everyone smile. She makes people I'm walking down the street and people are just literally stroking her as we're going past. And who does that to dogs, really? And she's a big girl. She's not a small girl.
I'm getting a bit nervous now. Truffle, you better do your hair and start looking nice, mate, because I think we've got a bit of a challenge on here.
Literally put down that bone.
Yeah.
And comb something.
Hey, don't start fat shaming my dog.
I didn't say don't pick it up later. I just said for now. I said pause for now with the bone.
Okay.
Right? Breathe a little bit and then he can respond later.
Okay. And I really want to make some kind of pun about the pause practice with obviously she could use her port, but I can't think of anything, so I'm not going to.
That was good.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, that sounds like we've got a bet on there. So let's look at the last item going into your backpack. What is that?
It would literally be a pen, and I'll tell you why, because this is probably the most practical item to go into my backpack. Because I am such a pen to paper person. I'd like to use the OneNote and all the other tools, and I've got them all. But I always find that it doesn't matter who I'm coaching, whether I'm coaching or whether I'm just living or I'm just talking to a random person when I go into M&S and all other good retailers, whatever. M&S, I'm here for the sponsorship if you want me. Okay. So anyway, I get this from my mum, right? We talk. I know it's coming as a surprise to you, but we talk and we can talk to anybody, anywhere. I can make lifelong friends at the bus stop is something that people say to me a lot, and I probably have. And I find that every time I meet somebody, they give me a gem of something. I don't know what that gem is. And I make a note of that gem. It could be a word, it could be a sentence, it could be a thought process, it could be something for me not to do or something to me consider. And I like to make a note of it. So I guess a pen.
I also love a pen. Yeah. Preference of pens?
No, really.
No?
No, I'm good. It's a bit like wine. If I don't know, it could be like the 99 pence bottle, and if it tastes good, it's all good.
I mean, I'm feeling a lot better about the champagne if I lose.
Oh, no. No, 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 oh no, 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 no,
Yeah,
please don't
yeah,
put
yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah.
I think I might have to readjust that thinking. Can we edit that out?
No, no, that's a we've made that agreement now. Okay, so we've got You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. We've
Yes,
got The Pause Practice
yes,
by Harleen Grover as the technique. We've got Skylar, the canine, and we have a pen of any description
any description.
with unlimited ink, though, obviously.
Yes, because there's so much wisdom and kindness and pure joy out there that I love to write it all down. So yes, unlimited ink.
Okay, good. Well, your backpack is packed. Sometimes people try to help and help us put stuff in our backpack. What would you want to make sure does not go in that backpack?
Yes. So this is a thing that I'm working on, and it would be expectations. I always say expectations. Why expectations? I left those in a group where no one, like in a chat where no one ever replies. You know, it's like the fact that I have these expectations. I guess we all do, but it's always been a bit of a burden in my life, and it's a thing that I am working on, and I will continue to work on. I guess expectations for me is just, it could be like a resentment. Resentment all dolled up and dressed up in something glamorous and beautiful. So I like to leave those very far behind me. And when I coach, I want to bring my intention and not a script that's going on in my head. I, you know, it's such an overused term. I want to meet people where they are, but it's true, right? I want to meet them as they present themselves in that particular moment in time, not where I think that they should be or how they should be presenting themselves or what they should be doing. And I think expectations, they box people in, they box me in, okay, as a person, as a coach, just in life in general. And if there's one thing that menopause, if we bring it back to menopause, demands, it demands freedom, right? As does midlife, as does good working practices in organizations, I feel positive, good freedoms. So I want to be in a room where leaders are finally realizing that wellness isn't a luxury, that it's a very good grounded leadership strategy, where I'm partnering with people and organizations that value lived experiences, because that's what I bring to the table, right? And that's why it's important to leave my expectations out of my backpack so I can utilize my lived experiences in the most best way. So yeah, I would say expectations.
Okay. And so this is expectations that you have of other people, that other people have of you, that other people have of your clients, expectations across the board.
In every single thing in life. So it's as basic as this, right? And this, I work on it on a daily basis, this expectation thing, me personally. If we step out of the backpack in terms of bringing it into a coaching perspective for a moment, I'll go to a coffee shop. I won't name it unless they want to sponsor me again. But basically, I go into a coffee shop. I want to order my oat milk cappuccino extra hot, please. But I have an expectation of how the oat milk should taste, how the cappuccino, how frothy and thick and glossy it should look, right? What extra hot means to me, how topped up it should be in the cup. And if on that particular day, if I'm deciding to have chocolate, how the chocolate should be spread all across the top of that and to the end. So this expectation is endless. And if I keep having such expectations on these basic minimal things, it is a giver of misery.
Now, I've got a question though about these expectations. I totally understand what you're saying. I'm
Okay.
going to challenge you again because that's what I'm here for. Do you like Christmas?
I love Christmas.
You love Christmas, all right? We love Christmas in our house too. I mean, it's April now that we're recording this, and I'm already looking forward to Christmas. We've got the whole of summer to come, which is a glorious time. The sky is blue outside, but expectation and excitement and anticipation all kind of go together. So if you don't have expectation, can you not have that excitement about something in the future?
Okay, so I challenge you back. Is expectation and looking forward to something the same thing?
I mean, that's how I'm classifying it, because I'm expecting it to be good, right? Therefore, I'm looking forward to it. I just get a feeling there's got to be something connected between the two there.
When I take Scarlett for a walk in the woods, right? She doesn't. So I apologize for anyone that has queasy stomachs. Please pause or grab coffee right now. Does she look forward to her walk? Yes, she does. Of course she does. She loves squirrels, but not for the reason perhaps we love squirrels. She's a huntress. She has very high prey drive, so she loves to hunt. And when we go to the woods, she doesn't have an expectation she's going to encounter a squirrel. But when she does encounter the squirrel, oh my gosh, is she full of joy and she runs after it and tries to do all sorts of things that we won't discuss here. But does she have an expectation that when she goes to the woods, she's going to see a squirrel? No, she's just going to the woods. She's just going for a walk. And whatever that walk brings for her, some days it doesn't bring a squirrel, and that's okay. Sometimes it brings a squirrel. That's okay for her, maybe not the squirrel. But does she have an expectation every time she goes for a walk she's going to encounter a squirrel? No.
Fair enough. Well, and one thing I'd like to take from that is for those who are voting on our dogs, just remember Skylar is a squirrel killing hound.
Hey, it's nature.
Has Skylar ever caught a squirrel?
She's caught 4.
Oh. Okay.
And all sorts of other things that we won't go into right now.
Okay, let's move on from that.
Yes.
Truffle's never caught a squirrel. He likes to chase, but he's never caught one. Okay, now one last question for you, Harleen, is where do you hope that you are or are not heading on this fictional coaching gig?
So I would say I am heading into industries that are finally ready to pay attention to the human body and stop treating it like it's an inconvenience that it gets in the way of corporate goals, where wellness isn't like a perk. It's the power for that company, power for that organization, power of the people, so to speak. Okay. I want to be in rooms where HR stop standing for, forgive me, HR, but I want to be in rooms where HR stops standing for horribly reactive and start standing for honoring the reality of where we currently are and where their people currently are. I also love male-dominated industries. I love the challenge of menopause within that scenario. So yeah, just somewhere where I can make a positive difference, because that's really important to me. It's one of my values to make a positive difference, because so many people have come into my life who I call my angels, who've just basically made such a huge positive difference for me. And I feel everything that I've done in my life, the wins that I've had professionally and otherwise, isn't just because of me. It's 100% because of the people I've encountered in my life. And that's really important for me to kind of do that to somebody else or to a group of people.
Marvellous. Okay, well, look, thank you, Harleen Grover, for being a guest on this episode of The Coach's Backpack. If people would like to know more about you, where can they go?
They can go to my website, The Space HQ. They can go to LinkedIn and connect with me at Harleen Grover.
Marvellous. Okay, well, look, thank you, Harleen, for being a guest on this episode of The Coach's Backpack.
Thank you for having me. I've loved it. And I am looking forward to my pink champagne when you lose that bet.
Bring it on. And thank you for joining us on this episode of The Coach's Backpack. If you would like extra goodies such as free tools, offers, further info about our guests, and maybe even the odd peek inside their actual backpack, sign up to our mailing list at thecoachesbackpack.com. And don't forget to follow the podcast too. See you next series.